Today, we talk about email. It's one of the most important things out there because you own the content and you get direct access to your audience and potential customers. So, today, we're talking with Rich Young. He is the founder of Vision Global. All he does is talk about emails. So, we talk about drip campaigns. It's all right here. All right, Rich, why should I care about using email to sell for my business? I'm just hitting you right in the face with it.
Right
But
in the
why?
face with
Why
it
should I?
right away. Email is your own ecosystem. If someone's following you on social, whatever that might be there, like it's obviously where you want to drive all your top of funnel traffic. So everything in marketing is a funnel. There's a piece of the email funnel where you want to capture them into your own ecosystem. Inside of the ecosystem, you can see when they're opening, when they're clicking. You can see if they haven't opened in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. If someone's already bought from you, you can segment those buyers to continue speaking to them. Like someone, it's kind of marketing in general, or just like when you're selling something, someone who's already bought from you is going to continue to buy from you, or they're more likely to buy from you rather. So that's all stuff that you can separate inside of an email list that you don't always see on social. There's also people on social who they follow you, they don't like, they don't comment, and that's fine. But then you don't even realize they're paying attention. But you put something out there like, hey, I made this 3-day crash course on how to do X, Y, or Z. For example, how to start your own podcast. Then you realize, oh, Rich didn't like one of my posts, but now he's reading this. He clicked every link. So let me give him a little bit more information. Like, hey, Rich, saw you looked through this. Here might be the 3 biggest mistakes you're about to make. And that back end sequence strips off just because I've already engaged with everything that you have there. So then you can continue giving me more information. So it's a place where the audience can dictate what they're going to get, but you also get to see everything they're doing. So like if you want to give someone more information, or you don't want to send emails to someone who hasn't opened over the course of 30 days, 90 days, then just get them off your list because they're going to mess up your deliverability to everyone else. So good start, but jumping
Yeah.
right at it. But that's the biggest thing, I think. Like you can see a lot there. There's also just to add on, like if you're doing something in sales, like so say you have a product where there's a sales call. On my previous job, like before I left to start this company, I was working in sales and there was very much 2 types of buyers. Someone who had been on our email list for like 2 or 3 years that knew everything about us. We hopped on those calls. They knew every objection, or we already handled every objection. And we just hopped on, we just had a conversation. I might have educated them a little bit further about what we do, but like there was already a trust factor there. Versus the person who we ran a Facebook ad and there was a 40-page PDF playbook that download this and then they get books sent to book a call. But then that person gets on and is like, hey, like I have no idea what you do. I just want to make $1 million. It's like, all right, well, like there's 1,000 ways to make $1 million. But if they had gotten a 3-day sequence, a 5-day sequence that brought them up to speed on everything we did, then I wouldn't be there like, I don't want to say wasting time with the basics, but like you can do so much education on handling front end education. Everyone, you can get them up to speed so that you can have a more efficient conversation with them on a sales call, where it's not just like baseline stuff. So that's like another thing there as well, like from a sales perspective. And that's like, I saw
Mhm.
that gap in what I was doing. And that's like, I kind of like doing that for people that do like different services, consulting, digital products, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's like another thing too on the front end. And like maybe don't even offer them a sales call unless you know they've already watched all this stuff or they've already looked at everything there. So like there's a way to preserve your time and like build out like that little mini sales development rep on the front end who does all that education before that you speak with them.
For me, like I'm such a perfectionist about a lot of stuff, and especially when it comes to communication, doing all this stuff in radio, and like there's so many things about the way you present stuff, and having loving comedy, like comedic timing in a sense, right? Like there's
Mm-hmm.
so many different things that go into the art of conversation and hitting people the right way, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
just broke down like so eloquently how email can give you so many different routes of
Mm-hmm.
communicating with people and being like so specific and intentional and having these ways of getting people, educating them, moving them through the system so they're really ready to go for the call to convert into a client or the long-term nurture. Like there's just so much that goes into it and there's so many ways to leverage it. And for us, like I am tying myself in knots about this on some level because we have the newsletter. Like we've been doing it now for a couple of years. and it's doing all right. I mean, for basic perspective, we've got like 200 people on the newsletter. We've got about a 40% open rate with that, and it feels pretty good. And so it's like, okay, this is a good starting point. But then when it comes down to outside of like basic automations that we've put together, where, hey, we've got this free 9 steps to start a podcast guide. Great, you can go sign up for that. We'll send it to you. Like, we don't have a lot that we're optimizing out of that. And that's part of why I think it's so interesting to talk about, because some people, and I would figure a lot of people, like, they know to collect email. They might have emails that they haven't even put into an email list. And
Mhm.
so starting to think of like, okay, you've got all of this email information, you've got an audience that's aware of you, you have a business that's defined. Like, how are you actually going to go and attack people? And I feel like drip campaigns are a beautiful thing in the sense that they're automated, right? Like, you build that
Mhm.
thing out and it just runs, right? So like, on the basic idea, I guess let's talk about drip campaigns then, and really, I mean, and in your own words, like the value prop, right? Like, why drip campaigns specifically, and what are some of the common ways that you see people use it?
Just using that same example of like when I worked my previous job, there was a big 40-page PDF that someone had. When they get that on the front end and then they're asked to book a call, like, one, very few people are going through a 40-page PDF. Number two, you don't know if they went through it or not. So like, you don't know how far they went through. Like, as soon as they download it, it's locally on their computer. You don't get to see anything else there. So that's like one thing. Like, if you had a drip campaign leading to a sales sequence, you know if they've seen it or not. You know if they've watched everything in your pre-call sequence, whatever that might be, because you might have something that's just a lead magnet that is 5 days. It brings them up to speed. It's a total crash course on everything you do. Boom, they saw that. Then they book a call. You could even have a 2-day sequence that says, hey, like, here's all the biggest common objections. Here's everything to know about the call. That way they're sitting on that call. They're present. Like, they're totally there. But so that's just kind of to expand on like the previous experience I had and why I
Yeah.
saw opportunity here. But then, like, to kind of double down even on a front end educational email course. So like, it's a sequence course, like say it's like a crash course. So like, podcast A to Z, and maybe it's not A to Z, it's just like podcast overview, 100-foot level. But you give someone a 5-step sequence on how to start a podcast. And it's like, hey, here's one, download Riverside. Two, like, here's the psychology behind it and what you should be doing. And like, boom, they go through 5 days, like, all right, and like, now I know how to do it. Maybe there's a likelihood they're probably not going to do it, but now they know that Vince knows what he's talking about. You're like, hey, you might be thinking about doing this, but you have all this other stuff here. If this is something you really wanted to talk about, here, book a call with me here, and then boom, you can have a conversation with them. But that same information from that 5-day sequence could be the same thing from the huge PDF. You just broke it down into bite-sized pieces, so now they can read it. It's like, oh, wow, Vince knows what he's talking about. And if you really believe everything you're doing, and like, there's that old Zig Ziglar quote, like, then it's your moral obligation, get it out there, right? And like, it's cliche, but if you really believe in like what it is you're doing there, then like, if you give them the first day, it's like, boom, and then you leave a little cliffhanger, and tomorrow I'm going to teach you about this. And like, shit, I really want to know about this right now. There's little things you can put, like links to even fast forward the next email. However, like, it's just a much better way to build up that trust right from the jump. So, and like, that's how I started building out these front end educational email courses, where it's like, hey, I built this 5-day crash course. Put in your email. Here's what you're going to get over 5 days. You tell them exactly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is what you're going to get. Then you deliver on that. They're like, all right, well, Vince is a man of his word. He just gave me all this value. And then boom, like, you build it once, and now you don't have to have that conversation, that basic conversation that takes 15, 20 minutes just educating someone. You're doing it on autopilot, and then only speaking with the people who are really interested on the back end. So that's like a good way there. And then real quick, like, even just like a back end one, like, I just built out this one. It's very simple for someone. I built out a front end educational email course for someone. Then there's a little one-off project in the middle of it on day 3. But when they buy that project, it's a little Stripe link. And then once the Stripe link, then like, it'll trigger a Zapier, like a Zap that goes
Yeah.
back into their email software. And then boom, it sends out a post-purchase email that, one, gets them to book a call, and then 2, asks them to fill out all their onboarding information. And then that will send it to something else where like, they have to fill out all that information for the product. And then boom, like, now the person knows that's firing automatically. They don't have to worry about it. And then the person, after they purchase, they're just going to book a call on their calendar. That's all taken care of. And like, people look at it like email marketing, it's spammy, but if you look at it like you're just replicating yourself and making yourself like little digital employees that run around the clock, like it's just a different way to phrase it where your information's already out there. You might as well just use it as much as you can without having to be in the room.
Yeah, I mean, when you're sending the same emails all the time, right? Like, and for the level of admin work, because one of the things that we've got is like, okay, we have freepodcasthelp.com. So we do that as an entry point to meet people, understand their problems. And with that, as soon as they book an appointment, there's a form that comes with that. They fill out that information. A day later, or right after, we'll automate it where we ask them to fill out some questions about their show. If they're an existing show, hey, we want to know about that. Here's a bunch of questions that give us the framework. Cool. If you're a new show, here's our 9 steps and like some other things leading into it. And it's such a relief because, I mean, one, I tested the shit out of that system to make sure that it worked, because it's just like, for the love of God, if I will die before I let this thing go out broken. So like you put in that work, but it's worth it because the relief of here is this thing that's on autopilot that is professional, informing people and moving them through the system is like such a relief. And I even baked in conditions with that automation where I was canceling the appointment if they hadn't filled out the form because I'm like, hey, you need to I need this
Boom.
information. So and I'm telling them in the email, I need it. If I don't get it, this will be canceled. So we'll try again. But that's the kind of stuff I've gone through. But when it comes to like drip campaigns in another sense, it's that kind of thing that I haven't really executed. And on some level, like I overthink things is my
Mhm.
problem. So I'll look at it and like simple question. And I know this can probably range quite a bit, but like generally speaking, what is a good rule of thumb for like length of a drip campaign?
So,
See, and you just kind of like
yeah,
sighed, like, damn it, he
it,
just asked me an impossible question. I can't
no, no,
believe he
it's
did that.
funny because like you got to realize like the questions I would have for you as a podcast host or someone who does the marketing of podcasts, you are going to have a whole world that I don't even know exists. But like people I learned this from, like they have an evergreen newsletter, and I say evergreen because once someone signs up for this new like their email list, every single person will get the same first 20 emails that is like has been curated over the course of 18 months, and they know like people buy within these first 20 emails, so they're putting you through a whole flow, and it doesn't matter if I start it now or you start it in 7 months, chances are we're going to get the same exact flow of 20 emails. So there's someone like that versus like where I do it's like I usually steer towards 5-day educational email courses, and you're trying to teach someone over the course of that 5 days. However, there's something like a welcome series. And like everyone probably knows Russell Brunson, ClickFunnels, but he has his book, .com Secrets. And there's people that follow this flow where it's a 3-day sequence. It's like, day one, thank you for subscribing. Here's a little bit about my story. Here's what to expect. But really why I got into this. And like, it's like a cliffhanger for like a low point. So like, for me, like it could be like I was working in e-commerce and saw so many people doing it wrong, so I made a jump, and I'm going to tell you all about this tomorrow. So it's like, all right, now they're waiting for tomorrow. Tomorrow, like I could talk about my story. So like if I just had some big low point in a story, and think about the hero's journey. Like everyone has a low point, but like I saw some people in their doing e-commerce brands that would have $100,000 product launches before they even had product. They would, because their email list was so strong, they would pre-launch a product, they would get $100,000 and then go buy $200,000 worth of product. It's like, dude, that's crazy because like you just have this engine when you do it the right way, when you provide value, you show people you understand their problems, you understand how to fix their problems. So then when you go to offer them something, like you've already built that trust. But not to get too off, but I saw that. And then day 3 could be like, hey, and here's how you could go ahead and start your email course. So like if you have value to provide and you can get people to read all the way down the page and like that's there. So like that's even like another step into your question, like how many days, but
Yeah.
it can range very widely, but like something on the front end, like at least send them an email, say, hey, you confirmed, looking forward to looking forward, this is what you should be looking forward to. So that way it just like confirms it like, yo, I got your email, I'm excited to share more with you. If you want to do like a welcome series, 3 days, something like that, again, I do 5-day series, but I have seen as much as 20-day secret.
And on some level, like the podcast email equality, if you will, because
Hmm.
for the podcast side, it's a tease is how we do that from the segment like before a commercial break, right? So it's okay, we're talking about this thing, we're getting in all this stuff, and when we come back, I'm going to fill you in on A, B, and C, and like
Mhm.
it's and it's that same thing. Okay, I'm going to stick around for this through the advertisement because I know that I'm getting this thing that I want. And
Mhm.
so, yeah, to see
Exactly.
that same element in an email, like it just makes sense because it's just like it's storytelling, attention grabbing, and translating it in that same way. If you're looking for more ways to grow your business through podcasting, sign up for the SBX newsletter. The link is right here in the show notes. And each week in your inbox, you're going to get tips, opinions, strategies, all the things that we talk about here on the show in your inbox. The SBX newsletter right here in the show notes. And that's part of what I find so fascinating about this and like important about it, because if you're running a show or you're running a newsletter, like that content can very easily cross pollinate and if anything totally replicate in the other channel. There's no reason that a newsletter
Mhm.
done a certain way can't just be expanded as a podcast or a
Mhm.
podcast vice versa. Like and that's what we do to some degree. But when it comes to like that true sophistication of the different ways to max out the podcast, I mean, like that 20, like seriously, the 20-day funnel like system it's brilliant. Like
Mhm.
I've never heard of that, but I love it. It makes so much sense.
Mhm. It's it is crazy, but, like, those are people that, like it's a whole team of people that were paying attention to it over the course of a year plus, I forget the exact number, but they got their system totally dialed in, and they just saw that, like, "Hey, it took people in our email list approximately 20 to 21 emails to buy from us, and, like, here's the biggest collection of emails they got." It was evergreen newsletters, which are very much about education. There's some direct sales emails where you say, "Hey, like, we only have this many spots left open over this amount of time." Like, for example, like, we only have 2 spots to help with your Black Friday, Cyber Monday email promotion. If I was doing something like this, if you're serious about this, book a call because it's gonna be here in 5 weeks, and, like, we gotta get on this type of thing now. So, like, that's a direct sales email. Or it could be, like, indirect where someone's like, like, "I just got this question, and this is the problem they were asking. If you have these problems, you need to do X, Y, and Z, but you probably don't have enough time to do X, Y, and Z. So if you really want me to do it, just click here to book a call. We can have a quick conversation." So, like, you have evergreen, direct sales, and then kinda like indirect where you're trying to get them to book a call, but through that type of education process as well.
Yeah, okay. And that's one of those things that on the back end we're experimenting with now is, hey, we've got a new product, we're doing a pilot version of it, we've got a case study, we're offering it to a limited number of people that are on the newsletter list, seeing what the response is, and like we're figuring it out, which is an exciting thing to do because like that is the whole point. It's you've got this ecosystem, you're trying out all these new things, and really merging sales with the newsletter. I guess from that sales standpoint, right? Because one of the problems that people naturally get into as a business owner, especially if they're not from sales as a background, is like they're allergic to selling. So from that
Yeah.
sales standpoint, like let's say I am one of those people. I'm terrified of the idea of selling through a newsletter. Just kind of walk me off the ledge of why I should embrace selling to the audience that I've built.
So if you don't like sales, then the best thing you should do is build trust beforehand. You want someone to hop on the call because they want to talk to you, not because you're going out there and trying to cold pitch someone. So like I think this is like the biggest reason for it and just marketing in general. Like one of my mentors told me, marketing is just answering questions over and over again. So if you just go out there and answer all the questions you get all the time and just build up all that trust with people and do that through your top of funnel content, your email content, and give people a link to book a call, you're giving them all of you're handling all their objections up front, so you're making that sales call so much easier for you. So when you're starting out, it's tough. You do have to kind of just like send a bunch of messages, knock on a bunch of doors, show it to a bunch of events. But as you start doing this and marketing compounds, this should be the easiest thing to alleviate the pressure of your sales calls because you're getting all that information out there beforehand before they ever show up on the call with you or in the room with you.
Yeah. So with all of that, then let's reset it just a little bit in the sense of okay, I am willing to sell. I'm going to market. I'm gonna work these people through the system. If I was to set up a drip campaign, just in a general sense, what are some other good things? I know we talked about length. What are some other good things to consider? Some best practices. when it comes to running a good drip campaign?
Say you run sales calls and you take transcripts, I would just go and grab all your transcripts and see the biggest questions you get on your sales calls and then answer that over a drip campaign. Or if there's something that you need them to know before they hop on the call with you, put that in your drip campaign. Something like, so that's like the biggest thing for me right there. And like, it really goes back to just answering questions on repeat. And you do that through a drip campaign. And I don't know if that's like too short of an answer there, but
That's fine.
and like, that's like I guess like, yeah, it's, I don't want to say dumbed down, but like I've said it so many times, it's gotten to that point. But another thing, like what I tell people, like, and you guys do a great job, like your free podcasthelp.com. There is one like objective of that website. Like you want people to book a call with you. When
Yeah.
I build out these things for people, like, so say you're running social traffic and you need to capture it onto your email list, build out a landing page that has one option. Put in your email or don't put in your email. Don't give them a chance to click on your socials. Don't give them a chance to go to your website. They're already coming from there. You want to capture them because say even if they're going to buy right away, someone calls their phone, their kid needs their help, like, or like, they get a work call or something like that. Like you want them in your ecosystem so you can send them more direct things. So that's just like from capturing, make it as frictionless as possible. And then on that landing page, if you say you're going to do X, Y, and Z, just do X, Y, and Z in that email sequence. So now like you're a man of your word, you're a woman of your word, and you're just delivering on everything you said. So you're building that trust. And I'm going to use the word again, on autopilot.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically you've got this core thing that you're looking to accomplish with people. You want to make sure that you're reinforcing that that's what you're going to do. And
Mm-hmm.
if you see certain things happen to be an oversight or a gap in the system because you keep getting asked about it, they don't know, then you got to go and fix that. Like
Mm-hmm.
I actually, let me give you an example. A show that I'm working on right now does cold outreach to get people to be guests on the show. And it's one of those things where it's really successful. And the thing that's fascinating about it is just today, as I was going through a lot of those emails, I saw like 4 different people ask, is this a paid thing? Do I have to spend money to be on this show? Which they don't. But that hit me. I was like, oh, we got to make sure people know in this sequence that they do not have to pay. Like it's
There you go.
clearly a gap, and I don't want to be answering this question all the time. So we've got to tighten that up.
Perfect. That's a great example of it. Like, you're getting it all the time, throw it in there. And like, yeah, that's something marketing for anyone. But even just like, because this is like a kind of an email campaign, that's a perfect example. So love that.
Yeah. All right. Well, Rich, we really appreciate the time going through all these things. I mean, we could talk. There's many conversations that we can have about email. So I'm sure we'll talk again. But for everybody who wants to keep up with you, connect with you, what is the best way to do that?
So right now, like I'm very active on LinkedIn. So Richard Young, my website is visionglobal.io. So I am going through a little bit of a rebuild there. However, if you go there and it's not up yet, there is a link that goes to my LinkedIn for the time being. So those are the best ways to go about it. And then also like kind of piggybacking something on from you, Vince, last week you talked about like being your own case study and working for yourself in your
Yeah.
newsletter. Like now I'm rebuilding my welcome series because it's like I need to be more active in everything I'm doing here. So I just wanted to give you that because that's something that was like a good reminder for me because like I'm doing this for other people and sometimes you run after the money, but you're like, hey, you should be doing this for yourself and you can just show people what you're doing and that could be your type of marketing, especially when you're running a service. So I've been meaning to tell you that, so I definitely wanted to get that in there. But visionglobal.io or just find me, Richard Young, on LinkedIn.
Hey, love hearing all that, Rich. This was great. Thank you for the time, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.